I'm Rabbi Jay Karzen.
And I'm Rabbi Ruby Ray Karzen.
And Tape with Rabbi Doug is next.
We're going to see Rabbi Doug. We're going to see Rabbi Doug. We're going to see Rabbi Doug on your TV tonight. But Daddy, I want to watch Monday Night Football.
Forget about Monday Night Football. There's no other thing we're going to watch on Monday but Rabbi Doug.
Yeah, Rabbi Doug on TV tonight. We're going to see Rabbi Doug. Oh, everybody talk about Doug.
Shalom and welcome to Tape with Rabbi Doug. Glad you could be with us today. My guests today are my most popular guests, and thank God we've been able for a number of years to have you as guests once a year. This is the 5768 series of Taped with Rabbi Doug with Rabbi Jay Karzen and Ruby Ray Karzen. Welcome to the show, Rabbi and Rabbanit. It's a pleasure to have you back in Chicago this year. And I know this year you came in for a simcha, for a nephew's bar mitzvah mazel tov, and we are able to once again be together. I'm so glad you're here because everyone asks me when you're going to be back, and now that you can see our show 24/6 on the internet because we don't watch it on Shabbat, everybody is able to catch the show once it's on the air. Welcome, and tell me what's new in Israel, Rabbi Karzen.
Well, let me just say it's an honor to be back here. We always look forward to being on your show when we come. We weren't here for the holidays this year, so this show is being taped slightly after the holidays. But it's always good to be back in Chicago and to be on your show. And then for the first time in many years, I was the scholar in residence, and Ruby also spoke at our former congregation, Main Township Jewish Congregation in the Plains, which was an exciting experience for us. In Israel, of course, other than the politics, which we won't talk about today, things are going well. Our philosophy has always been in our marriage that Tikkun Olam has to be a top priority. Tikkun Olam,
repairing the world.
Trying to do our little bit, to wake up in the morning and say, what can I do today to make the world a little bit better, a little bit brighter, to keep Jerusalem a little bit cleaner. And we're involved now in an anti-litter campaign, and that's something relatively new, to keep Jerusalem clean. And it started, actually, the whole idea about in the 50s, more than 25 years ago, when people were picking wild flowers and just, damaging and doing detrimental things to the beauty of the city. And a campaign began in the schools to stop people from taking flowers that didn't belong to them, to steal flowers. And it worked. Eventually, today, I think nobody picks flowers anymore. And now we're trying to do the same thing with people littering, to stop it. We've been passing out garbage bags on street corners and motorists stopping their cars.
As long as you're not passing out flowers with flyers they go on the ground.
Keep Jerusalem clean. That's Tikkun Olam, to make our little corner of the world a little
Very
bit cleaner.
Nice.
Cleanliness is next to godliness.
Beautiful, beautiful. I think it's a good thing. It's terrible here even today. There's a lot of in America, in Chicago itself, in the Chicago area, there's really not a good recycling in the city program, and I think it's something that's lacking in a lot of areas.
We have recycling of bottles, soda bottles and water bottles, plastics, but we believe that Jerusalem, which is the holy city, which is the capital of the Jewish world, should be immaculately clean. And we're doing our little bit. We join with this little group of people who take it seriously, and that's what we're doing at the moment, keeping Jerusalem clean.
So for Parshat Vayetze, when Vayetze was read recently, they pronounced it, the OU passed out flyers, it is the Unified Jerusalem Shabbat. And was this also spread about in Israel for Parshat Vayetze? No. This was an OU American thing.
No, it was an American thing. It was not in Israel. We're all for Jerusalem all year long, every Shabbat. We don't need a special Shabbat to remind us how important Jerusalem is to the Jewish people. I think we have to remind our leadership sometime about that. But for the religious Zionist community, Jerusalem is always uppermost in our hearts.
Before we go on and talk about the things that you want to share with us today, I want to go back and just talk about we just recently learned that the Prime Minister, Omar, has cancer. And is this something that you think is going to affect public politics in itself, or will things just move on as they are right now?
Well, the Annapolis conference is not yet taking place. This taping is before, and we don't know what's going to happen. But Omar, at the moment, is healthy.
He has prostate cancer. It's a microscopic spot at the moment, and he's going in for. And
so they think it's going to be. He's going to recover 100%.
It's not an issue.
That's been a big thing in the news as of recent.
Yeah, according to all the medical reports, it's not life-threatening, and he will continue.
All right, very good, very good. Robertson.
I didn't think I'd ever get on.
You have so much to share with us, including some things about the beauty of buildings and what's going on in the cultural side of Israel and Jerusalem. And what do you have to share with us today?
Lots of things. But I'd like to talk first about innovation. Because if Israel is anything, it is an innovator in the world, on the world scene. You know, we don't have minerals and we don't have oil as far as we know. One of these days we may have it, but we don't have it now. And we don't have a lot of land, and we don't have, and we don't have, and we don't have. But what we have is the ability to use our heads. And this is brain power. And our brain power is what is shaping the country, and hopefully shaping the world in its way too. You know, for instance, on a very day-to-day level, do you know that we have the larger percentage of companies that are on the NASDAQ are Israeli? Is that incredible? It's a tiny little country, and we have that. We have so many things that are different. In France, a company called Castel Wines recently took one of the highest prizes for fine wine. Israel? Who ever thought of that? And we're used to using the local wines, you know, the wines that we use every week, which taste very like cough syrup. Mm-hmm. And here we have fine wines, red, rose, anything you want, and they're being shipped all over the world. It's a phenomenal
I want to mention
thing.
something that you brought up on a past show a few years ago, New Inventions in Israel. You talked about the handheld MRI.
Right.
And I want you to know that there are now places in Chicago that are advertising that they are using the handheld MRI, which you brought on the show before it was ever in America, when it was invented in Israel. Yeah. And I just wanted to mention that because when I saw the first commercial, I said, I knew about it first from you.
But I mean, there's so many things. You know, the Shari Tzedek Hospital, large hospital in Jerusalem. They're in partnership with the Jerusalem College of Technology, and they invent things for instance, for the Sabbath. You know, we cannot write on the Sabbath, so they have invented a pen so that the doctors can write the orders, and the ink disappears after a few days. And this is one of the principles of Judaism, that if delayed action you can use. I mean, all that type of thing. But there are telephones that the wires do not connect. So these are for Sabbath observing doctors. And this is an incredible thing.
And also when a patient has to call a nurse,
Mm-hmm.
a certain switch that they can use where the light doesn't light up immediately.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the grandma system, where it's a delayed action. And the nurse will eventually get the call from
Well,
the
the light
patient.
is on all the time. And a flap, when the patient pushes the button, a flap moves the light so that it can be seen and the nurse can come. It's incredible.
Sort of like the new Shabbat light, where
right.
you turn the cover and the light is exposed.
Exposed.
You move the cover back, the light is not exposed.
Exactly. That's an incredible thing.
Yeah.
But on the cultural scene also, you will show. We will have the pictures of the Tel Aviv Cultural Center. It is an incredible.
Do you have a picture of that there?
I sure do, and I will show you. This is the front. This is the front, and in there are three facilities. You have the Camry Theater, you have the ballet, and you have the Symphony Hall. Now, the interesting thing is that when you come dark normally, and whatever is going on that night, there are blue lights. Under the stone, by the stone, they have the lights showing you exactly what it is. In other words, if everything is on that night, if there's something performing, you have 3 blue trails. If not, you have 2 or 1. It's an unbelievable sight, and it is so thrilling to be able to go walk into this building and see a marvelous cultural facility.
Now, is it indoor and outdoor?
No, it's all indoor. Here's the gate. There's a huge plaza, and then the 3 buildings, which are done in marvelous.
The Opera House too.
The opera house looks like a giant wedding cake with frosting. It's just marvelous. You've got to go see it.
How long has this building been open?
8 years, 9 years, maybe 7 years, something like that. It's a terrific thing. The other thing I brought for you today was that I also have a picture of that. Is that on the streets of Jerusalem and Tel Aviv? I hope you can see this. What they have done is take old, decrepit buildings, and they have made murals all over. There's scenes. Sometimes there's scenes from. Once in a while, it seems from the Bible. Normally, it's from nature or some type of myth, and they're gorgeous. I hope you can see this because it's really special. And this is done by artists that are not known. They're mural art, up and coming art, and they're all over the city now.
So just kind of the buildings become murals.
Exactly. Everything's a landscape. All right, not a landscape, a canvas. Every building can be a canvas.
You know, we have a famous building like that in Chicago along the Kennedy Expressway where there are murals painted on it and advertisements and so on and so forth. Especially when a sports team is winning, all of a sudden there's a mural for the sports team on the building changing. So, but these are old buildings where the buildings would look dirty and decrepit, and it turns them into beautiful pieces of art.
Exactly.
Very nice.
And another one here, I thought maybe I'd shared this with you, but I don't think so. This building is a synagogue on Jaffa Road, and all of you who have come to Israel, in Jerusalem, all of you who have come to Jerusalem have probably passed it because it's right across from the famous market, Machne Yehuda, which most tourists do go to see, an open-air market, and it is a synagogue and with a sundial on top. Now, this building was built in the middle 1800s, late 1800s.
Before electric cars.
Before electric cars. People didn't have watches. And so when they wanted to know when sunrise and sunset was, and when it was time for the prayers, they just looked at the sundial. This is like an ancient sundial.
Probably people gathered on the street every day.
At that time, now you walk by. I hope people appreciate what it is.
It's also a minion factory.
Yes.
It's constant from the afternoon. Mincha, every 2 or 3 minutes, another minion. There's 10 synagogues inside this building.
There's one other thing I want to share. One other picture I brought. This is a Chanukiah, which is a Hanukkah candelabra menorah, and it was put up last year at the entrance of the city. It has 1,800 light bulbs.
Can you tell me? Let me go back to the entrance of the city.
Yes.
Now, are we speaking of the entrance of the city when you're coming in off the highway where you see the flowers that say Bruchim Habayim?
A little past that.
So this closer to the central bus station area.
Exactly. Before that.
Okay. All right. Well, for those who've been to Jerusalem,
yes.
You know these
right at the entrance.
So tell me about this building.
Okay. So this is a Chanukiah. This is a candelabra, Hanukkah candelabra, and it weighs 15 tons. And it's 22 meters high, and it has 1,800 light bulbs, which is enough to light up our stadium. In Jerusalem, there's a stadium, a soccer stadium. It seats 20,000 people, and these would be enough light bulbs to do that.
Light up the whole place.
It's incredible.
And
I
so
hope they put it up again
on
this
Hanukkah, when it's lit up, the whole city, the whole area is lit up.
The whole area is lit up.
And I'm sure probably for tens of miles, the sky is lit up by it.
Absolutely.
Wow.
One other thing you have to talk about, we are baseball.
Oh, wait.
Israeli baseball. 7-inning games, right?
7-inning games. There's a whole reason why 7 rather than 9, because most games start very late in the afternoon.
How did the first season go? Was it a success for the fans?
We went to one game only, unfortunately, but we should have gone to more. There were several hundred people in attendance, not 30, 40,000 as you would expect in a major league.
First, I think you should tell them that it is a field. Now, it's from a kibbutz. And what they did was make a field, a baseball diamond out of it, and we had priority seating. And what that was white plastic chairs, and you just pick the chair up and put it anywhere you wanted. They did have a few bleachers, but there wasn't too many. But it was the unbelievable day. And for anybody who's been a baseball fan, like all of you, the whole audience knows baseball. When you go to an Israeli baseball game, the translation is just hysterical. I mean, you're on the floor laughing because of the translations of the words.
Indeed.
But I also have to tell you, you have to understand that when you go here, people who only eat kosher, you never have anything to eat at a baseball game. There's no hot dogs, there's no hamburgers, nothing. There, everything was kosher. Glatt kosher, which was super kosher. And you had hot dogs and hamburgers and parve ice cream that could be eaten with meat. And it was just an incredible.
I want to tell you, by the Cleveland Indians, by the Baltimore Orioles, and by the New York Yankees, they're actually kosher restaurants.
One stand, though.
In one stand. No, I'm saying,
One
but you
stand.
can actually get kosher in one stand. And here in Israel, you can come and all the food is kosher.
But at the beginning of the game, they play hatikva.
And then they say play ball and clap.
And then after the 5th inning, which is like the 7th inning stretch, because there's only 7 innings, there's a mincha break.
The afternoon prayers.
There's an afternoon service, and sometimes some of the ball players join the minyan. And there's a number of minyanim services going on in Ashkenaz, Sfarad, and so forth.
I suppose after Aleinu, everybody's asking for autographs.
And this game, the pitcher became the chazan. It was the cantor, and you see there were groups of men praying on all the different sides. It was just incredible. It was just incredible.
About the field, what historically it
Oh,
was.
and I will tell you,
So is there only one baseball field on one kibbutz?
There's
No.
3.
There's 3, okay.
right. There's one near Tel Aviv, and there's one near us.
Near
There's
Jerusalem,
two.
it's
There's
a
two.
45-minute ride from
Yeah,
Jerusalem.
and it's been successful. And there were people like Kenny Holtzman was a coach.
Manager. He was the manager, I think.
Manager.
Former
And-
Jewish pitcher for the Chicago Cubs.
And Art
Right.
Shamsky.
And he was on the White
Shamsky.
Sox for a while. And he's a no-hitter pitcher.
And Art Shamsky.
Art Shamsky,
also.
very nice.
But the baseball commissioner was Daniel Kurtzer, who was the former ambassador to Israel from the United States. He's the baseball
He's a baseball commissioner.
And it's really a surreal thing. The main thing is, though, where are we playing baseball? Past left field, that's the former palace of King Hussein, the former palace, the summer palace, and the field where they're playing is where the Maccabees joined to train for their famous battles for the Hanukkah.
Oh my goodness.
And this is where we played
Historic
baseball.
places.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
So that was before 1967. His summer palace was there.
Right.
That's amazing.
Right.
Just amazing.
we just hope
So
the
are they
season
playing?
will continue. You know, they weren't sure if it was going to go on a second year. It wasn't.
Yeah, so
Were they
far-
playing teams from other countries? Is that it?
No.
No.
There's 6 teams
So
locally.
there's 6 Israeli teams playing.
Right,
in the league.
And they
And
wanted
they were
an 8.
called the Beit Shemesh Blue Sox,
Uh-huh.
and the Netanya Tigers, the Petah Tikva Pioneers, the Tel Aviv Lightning, the Renana Express, and the Modin Miracles.
Very nice.
And there was one young man who played for the Modin Miracles, and his name was Danny Salzman,
who we're going to have on our show,
who you're gonna
hopefully
have on your
very
show.
soon.
And I think he had a marvelous experience. I mean,
Wonderful.
the baseball league in Israel, incredible.
Very nice. Well, Danny and I have talked, and he actually he plans on being on the show this coming year, so we're looking forward to that. Very nice. And to see a local Chicagoan and friend of our families being in the baseball league is really an exciting thing for Israeli baseball. And you know, they had the draft on the internet, and it was on TV, and it was really an exciting thing to see. It made it real. It made it real. So that's very exciting. So we've got sports changes. We've got, you know, beautiful buildings going up. What's the atmosphere right now as far as travel, as far as tourism? How
We
is
had
that
a
right
great
now?
tourism year this year. At the beginning of the Intifada and so forth, the second Intifada, there's been several of them, tourism was at a low, very low.
And we hit 2 million this year,
But over 2 million, I
Which is
think. It was
good.
over 2 million.
which is
And I'm in the bar mitzvah field, as you know. I officiated bar mitzvahs at the Wall, at the Kotel, at the Masada, and I had more bar mitzvahs this year than I've had in the last several years.
Mostly from the United States or from other countries?
Mostly from the United States, but I had one recently from Panama, one from Germany, one from South Africa, one from South America, and from all over the world, France, but mostly America and Canada, almost every state.
Very nice, very nice. So tourism is good. So you two have been going around and lecturing and speaking while you're here in the States and in Israel as well. What have you been speaking about? What is the in thing to learn about from Israel, Rabbanit?
Well, the thing is, everybody always asks about politics. And the truth is, it's the last thing we want to talk about because we want to tell you all the good things and all the fun things and all the happenings. Can I throw another one
Please.
in? Okay. Festivals. I've mentioned before the Oud Festival, which now we've taught you, which is a musical instrument. I took out of the paper, there are over 20 festivals going on in the last 2-3 months. I mean, we have music festivals and film festivals and dance festivals, and anything you can imagine, and drama, of course, and anything you can imagine. But a couple of weeks ago, we had something that was really unusual. It was called Open Doors Jerusalem. And what they did on a Friday morning, there were over 2,000 people who came to see different buildings, interesting and important and historic buildings in Jerusalem. They opened embassies and they opened public buildings and they opened, of course, the museums are always there, but there were buildings that are really historic and are beautiful. And they opened it. 2,000 people came on a Friday morning to go see Open Doors Jerusalem.
Now, did this include in the old city the buildings that people just walk by and look at because they're so old?
Yes, and many of the churches, many of the churches in the old city, you never can get into. Their doors are locked unless you have an invitation. They were open. And that was very interesting to much of the population.
Very nice. Very nice.
So that was something.
So festivals are something that people gather together.
There was a
travel
3-day Bereshit festival on the shores of the Galilee, and 3 days of music and dance, and it was incredible. I mean, and people come. It's not that you have 42 people. You have thousands of people.
You mentioned the Galilee. Tell me about the water situation in the Kinneret. I know when we talked a few years ago, it was a very terrible situation, and things got a little better. How are things this year with water?
Not good.
Could be better.
It has to be better. And the rainy season should be now, but it hasn't yet rained as it should. The abundance of rain is not nearly what it has to be. And if it doesn't rain now, we have a water problem in the summer, because it never rains in the summer. It rains usually from Sukkot, which is in the fall, until Erev Pesach. And so far it's November, mid-November as we tape this, and it has not yet rained heavily.
See, and another problem is sometimes it rains in the wrong parts of the country. Because if it rains heavily in Jerusalem, it doesn't make any difference. It's got to rain up
in the north.
And that's where we have all our skiing. Did you know that we have skiing in
Mount Carmel?
I had a funny experience. We were at the Dead Sea. We were at the Dead Sea where it was very hot. It must have been 40 degrees, which was about 90 some odd. I'm talking to my daughter, how many kilometers away, a short way. They're skiing on Mount Carmel, and we're in the Dead Sea. And we're in the same country, and we just, 2 hours away from each other. Can you imagine the change of climate? We have every single climate there. But as far as the water, it better rain up north so that it can come down to our reservoir and fill up the Sea of Galilee.
Very nice. Well, I'm here on Taped with Rabbi Doug with Rabbi Jay Karzen and Rabbanit Ruby Ray Karzen. And stay with us. We're going to be right back in a moment.
This is Naftali Hershtik, and you're watching Taped with Rabbi Doug.
Welcome back. We are here with Rabbi Jay Karzen, Rabbanit Ruby Ray Karzen from Jerusalem, Israel, formerly of Des Plaines, Illinois, and Chicago, Illinois. And, it's interesting that I quote you often And
Thank you.
whenever I do, whether I'm doing a funeral or a wedding, I like to say things that I learned and heard from you. And whenever I mention your name, just people light up. People come up to me. Oh, I knew Rabbi Karzen. I know Rabbi Karzen. How is he? Do you speak to him? My daughter's bat mitzvah. So many friends that I haven't seen in years came to wish us a mazel tov, who of course grew up
We were
with
in the
us. and
restaurants
just
today and for lunch, and 3 families whose children I had officiated for at their bar mitzvah happened to be in the restaurant
Yeah.
and
It's
remembered
just
us.
amazing. So I just want you to know. I want you to know that if anything, the two of you didn't just leave your mark in Des Plaines, but you left your mark on the Chicago area, because there are, I would say, dozens and dozens and dozens of people in the religious community, and dozens of people in the non-religious community, but active Jewish community, that would attribute their growth in Judaism to you two. And that's really
One of
a
the
great
things
mark.
we take great pride in is trying to impress upon young bar mitzvah and bat mitzvah young people to feel a sense of pride in their religion, to feel proud to be Jews, to feel the privilege it is to be a Jew, and to do something about it. Not just to say, I have pride, I'm a Jew, and so forth, but to do something, to try to make a commitment to live a fuller Jewish life. Easier, obviously, in Jerusalem than other places in the world, but nevertheless, it's always possible to live a full Jewish life wherever one lives, if one wishes to do so.
That's really what it's all about. Our time is just running down. Zoom. Some closing statements from the Rebbitzin. Something more you want to leave with our viewers?
I think the best thing I can say is to give you a heartfelt invitation to come visit us, because we really want to show the world, and the best ambassadors are people who come, and they come for a week or 2 weeks or 10 days, and they come and they see what the country is, and they see what a magnificent spiritual experience that they can have. They can follow, they can take their Bible, Jews or non-Jews, take their Bible and follow the steps of all our ancestors, and it's just a marvelous thing. You can take your Chumash and you go ahead and you go and see where Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob walked, where Samuel, Joshua, Yirmiyahu, all these people. Is that not thrilling?
It is. And Rabbi?
And we meet Christian people from all over the world too. On the plane coming here, a great number of people were coming. He said one of the greatest thrills in their life. They go on vacations all over the world. They go to Hawaii, they go to Mexico, they go to Las Vegas. But coming to Israel is a experience of a lifetime, because you feel that you're touching, you're connecting with your roots. For them it's Christian roots. For Jews, obviously, it's Jewish roots. But to be able to be there, to feel that this is our country, it's not only for the people who live in Israel, but Israel belongs to all the Jewish people throughout the world. And I just hope and pray that everyone feels that Israel is their country. It's not only mine. I made Aliyah, but other people can at least come for a week or two and drop in and visit Mishpacha, the family, and see how we have thrived.
We can certainly go and pray every day, but from here it's long distance, and there it's a local call, right?
Absolutely.
All right. I want to thank you both so much for being on the show. It's a pleasure to have you back in Chicago. I wish you a Nesiyat Tova, Tzeitchem L'Shalom, a safe trip back to Israel, and God willing,
Next year.
I was going to say, God willing, if I don't come there first to tape with you in Israel, we hope that you'll be back next year to be here with us. Rabbi Jay Karzen, Rebbitzin, Ruby Ray Karzen.
Of being on your show.
Thank you so much for being with us. I want to thank all of you. Remember, if you want to send the Karzens an email, you can email us at info@tvrabbi.com, and I'll forward it on to them, and they will get back to you. And you can check out our website, www.tvrabbi.com, and you can also see our show on the internet and see the Karzens on the internet with us there. Hope to see you next time, same place, right here on Taped with Rabbi Doug. Shalom, everyone.